everybody, Dave here from HeyUGuys. I'm joined by Sam, also from HeyUGuys.
Hey, how's it going?
We are at Heathrow Airport. You might be able to hear some planes behind us. We are off to Germany and then Austria to witness Guy Martin.
Hopefully not crash.
Hopefully not crash. Hopefully get over 2 layers of barbed wire.
Two layers, maybe.
Recreating the jump made famous by Steve McQueen in The Great Escape. So welcome on our journey. Let's see how we got on.
There's our plane. This one.
Just here.
We are flying to Munich, and then we drive over the border to Austria.
Munich in German, I think, is Munchen.
Munchen.
We just had some Munchen.
Munich. We had some lovely Munchen.
Willkommen! Deutschland, yeah! A little bit. That's all my German there. Literally all my German.
All in one hit.
We've landed in Munich. Well, I assume it's Munich. We're in the right place.
It could be. It's like Home Alone in New York.
Yeah. Kevin!
No, don't pull it. Don't pull it. Ah! Oh, Sam.
I broke it.
What's this, Sam?
This is Germany.
Wow, it's big.
Yeah.
It's green. It's very green.
Yeah, that's the German colours. So last night we arrived pitch black, didn't see any of this lovely scenery, but this is our hotel.
Maximilian.
That's right, it's lovely, very local.
Very local.
Very local kind of feel.
There's a lot of pine.
A lot of pine, a lot of wood, a lot of
scary dolls
antlers.
Scary dolls in like pushchairs.
Yeah.
From the 1920s.
Yeah, it's very local.
Yeah.
Oh, car.
We've met our Triumph buddies. Thanks to Triumph, by the way, for sending us out to this. It's going to be fun.
We feel like a couple of roses in thorns at this stage with all the petrol heads, the motorbike.
Yeah, we're here
fans.
for the film bit. Most everyone else is here for the motorbike bit. Don't get me wrong,
plugs.
I like motorbikes.
Yeah,
but they really, really like motorbikes.
They like motorbikes.
Yeah. So yeah, in fact, there they are. That's them.
These are the guys here.
The triumphants.
I'm not sure they'll take to that.
No, they like it. 1963, The Great Escape was shot here. Today we will be going to the actual field where Steve McQueen jumped over the iconic, well, not the iconic barbed wire fence, but the jump was iconic. And there was a barbed wire fence. And we will be watching Guy Martin attempt to jump over the fence as well.
Yeah, we've been told we're going to see the original bike, potentially even get to sit on it.
It's a beautiful day. Yeah. It's very sunny.
In the beautiful Bavarian countryside.
Do that. Look at that. Look at that.
Have a bit of that.
This is work.
Yep.
We're in a deck chair. Sam's in a deck chair. Look, there's
in a deck chair.
chair.
Hi everyone, here we are on the set of Guy Martin's Greatest Escape. Dave is now hidden behind the camera, so I will be your host for today's proceedings. As you can see behind me, we've got the crew setting up. They've got the trench, the ramp, the fence all going in place in this beautiful location we've got. This is the actual original location they used for the jump. We've also met the inimitable farmer who owns this land, who has let us actually be here today, build a fence and recreate a crazy stunt from The Great Escape. This was a scene that was made famous by none other than Steve McQueen and Bud Ekins on this actual bike. Today we're going to see Guy Martin using a new bike that's been modified specially by Triumph for this event. Guy is going to jump this bike over a fence that we saw earlier and recreate that iconic moment that we saw in the film. Neil, tell us a little bit about who you are and how you fit into this whole project.
Okay, Neil Duncanson, I run North One Television and am exec producer on Guy Martin, the big Guy Martin projects. This one is as big as they get. And we're very pleased with the way it's come about. Hopefully everyone else will think the same when it's on the air later this year. It's been a long old trawl with this one. This started out 5 years ago, and we've just achieved what we set out to do. Lots of issues to get over, not least building the fence, getting the bike sorted, involving Triumph, which has been a great relationship anyway. And then doing the whole Great Escape story, not just the jump, but the escape itself, the story of the movie, the science of jumping, and of course the key thing, taking a road racer like Guy Martin and turning him into a jumper, which is no mean feat. And Andy Gobbold, the stunt coordinator, and his team have done an extraordinary job doing that.
Tell me a little bit about the training that you undertook with Guy to get him to this point where he can hopefully comfortably jump a big old fence.
Well, I was contacted by North One Television about, it was the beginning of the year, and they said to me that they're thinking of reenacting the jump from The Great Escape. So we came out here, sort of a feasibility kind of exercise really, to find the location, the exact spot that they did it in originally in the film, which we found, and went back and got permission from the landowner. And over the last few months, we've kind of built it up to where we are today to do the jump. He was around mine. We wanted him to do one last jump before we came out here, and he was approaching the takeoff, and it's very slippery before he got onto the run-up boards. The back end skipped out, his concentration went, his toes, his feet went into that natural position that he uses when he road races, toes on the foot pegs. And so his toes were on the foot pegs, he landed from this great big jump, and his ankle gets bent back. So it's just one small lapse of concentration. The one thing I was worried about kind of did happen, but his ankle's sore. We've had a medic look at it, and it's okay. You know, he's medically fit, physically fit to do the job. It's just a little bit sore. We've strapped it up, strapped both ankles up actually. So one's kind of nursing an injury, and the other ankle's there to prevent any injury.
Whilst in Germany and Austria, we've had sausage for every meal, pretty much.
Yeah, and an egg.
Always have to have an egg, and it's the thing.
So anyway, they're still building the fence for Guy to jump. We've been here all day now, not complaining.
No, it's been amazing.
Amazing. We've spoken to so many amazing people.
Just the history.
In fact, John Leyton, it's literally behind us sneezing. Legend, played
Willie the Tunneler. Tunnel King.
Tunnel King in
Willie
The Great
Tunnel
Escape. One of two living allies left, him and David McCullum. Absolute legend. It's amazing stories, which you'll get to see in our interviews. But yeah, this view never gets old. It's stunning.
But we are waiting for the main event.
We are waiting for the main event.
This is up next. We get to witness the recreation of the jump. Guy's going to do the jump. He's going to go for the big jump, and we'll see how he does.
8 foot.
8
but,
foot.
Yeah, 8 foot high, but it's got to be 30 or 40 foot, I reckon, maybe more.
It's a pretty big jump.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do it. He doesn't seem that bothered. We've been chatting with him quite a lot.
Yeah, he seems pretty chill.
Yeah, I think that's
What
just
did he
Guy
say?
Martin.
It's just, it is what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Right. It is what it is. Said a couple of other things that I probably don't want to repeat.
Cup of tea. He likes tea. Big fan. But then who isn't?
Big tea fan.
So yeah.
Yeah, so very good. Very exciting.
We'll sign off.
I'm looking forward to it.
I hope this video comes out alright. It could be rubbish. I was about to say it could be car crash, but it could be motorbike crash.
Or, as Guy says, could be shit hot.
See, back to the location that you were 50 or 60, almost 60 years ago now. What kind of feelings does that create in you?
Well, it's actually very emotional. I remember being. It's sort of like yesterday. I was here, but it's not, of course. And I've also been down to the site. I went down to the site yesterday, where Charlie Bronson and I got on the rowing boat. And I have to admit, it brought a tear to my eye, because the sad thing is that they're now all gone. And so it's actually quite emotional being here. However, it's lovely, it's wonderful to be able to have the opportunity to see it all again. But and I'm enjoying every minute of it, but it doesn't alter the fact that it is very emotional as well. So, but I haven't cried, have I? I haven't shed a tear with you.
You wouldn't be the first. Yeah. Right, so here we are with the original bike restored. Tell us a little bit about what it was like for you coming across such a gem, and what the journey was like for you restoring it.
Well, I think because it took us a long while to find it, it was originally built by Ken Heens, who was a very good friend of mine, and he sent me in the wrong direction a few times to try and find it. It took us about 2 years to actually locate the bike, and it was a very, very, very lovely moment to find it. It was all in bits when we found it, because it belonged to the cowman of the original farmer that bought it from Ken, and when the farmer died, he left it to his cowman as a sort of going away present, and best will in the world, he sort of stripped it and was going to do it and rebuild it, but never did. And as I say, we bought it and we've restored it.
So you're a fan of the films?
Oh, very much so. Yeah. And I knew Tim Gibbs, who was the guy that done the first stunt in the film. We brought him over from New Zealand this year with his granddaughter, and we done a talk at the Apollo Theatre with Dan Snow. Yeah, he's an amazing guy. We've actually got him to sign the tank, as you can see there. Look.
I did see that. That's a great little touch.
He did the first stunt where
the German comes down the road, and McQueen puts the wire across the road, and Tim goes underneath the wire, and as the bike slid down the road, he hit the cameraman, broke his leg, and Tim thought that he was going to get the sack by Sturgis, so he starts to do a runner, and Sturgis shouts at him, "Get effing back here, Gibbs," he said, "and get on the bike and do it again." Then he shouts across to the cameraman, "Go and get another cameraman," he said, "and tell him to move a bit quicker next time." So yeah, he didn't have a lot of mercy, I don't think, Sturgis.
Wow, I mean that's a great little tidbit from on site. You mentioned to me earlier that there were 3 bikes.
There was 3 bikes. Bud built 2 bikes. There was another solo bike, and then there was a motorbike and sidecar that they used. The reason they used Triumphs and not BMWs or DKWs was because Bud and Steve wouldn't ride anything else but a Triumph, so the bikes had to be altered a little bit to make them look like sort of period war bikes. But as we know, when the war was on, this bike wasn't even built, you know.
So when did you watch Great Escape for the first time?
For the first time, as a kid, mate, yeah, it was on most Christmases, isn't it?
Did you ever think you'd be...
No, I never thought I'd be here, mate, never thought I'd be here. But when the opportunity arose, probably the start of the year, really, maybe even longer. Maybe even a year ago, when we first got talking about it. I thought, what an opportunity. Yeah, and just it's great that we've been blessed with the weather. Joseph has lent us his land, we've managed to get the jump, managed to get a bit of a fence up. So yeah, hopefully, mate, it'll all go to plan.
And you've ridden the old bike?
I've ridden the old bike. I rode that. When did I ride that? A couple of 3 months ago, down at the Triumph factory. Yeah.
What's that like?
Yeah, Dick Shepherd let me on it. Yeah, it's great, mate. It's great. Yeah, but I don't know if I'd want to be jumping that fence on that bike. I don't know. I don't think Dick would allow me. Yeah, because he's made a mint job of restoring. He's made a right nice job.
Give him a heart attack.
Yeah. Give him a heart attack, mate. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no. We'll just get a rip out on sort of the modern equivalent of Bud Aitken's. Yeah.
So tell us, why Great Escape? Why Triumph? Why this bike?
Well, first, at least I can tell you from my perspective that it's one of the most sort of memorable, important films in my upbringing. That was the sort of the Christmas Day movie. I think there'll be hundreds of thousands of people who would remember that film, and it means a little bit more than being a war film, I think, because it was played so much at that kind of family time, and just what a great boy's own kind of adventure. And of course, the thing, the cherry on the cake for it is the bikes. As a biker, as a child, that Steve McQueen scene, I didn't need to read anyone saying it was iconic. It just was such an exciting part of that film. So to be working at Triumph and having been approached as a company to help North One Television and Guy Martin recreate it in the field on a Triumph that we could build, and such fantastic weather, it's a bit of a dream, really. In the 60s, Steve McQueen and Bud Aitken, who did the jump, who's stunt guy, they insisted it was Triumphs, even though it should have been Second World War German motorcycles. 1960 sports Triumphs were chosen because they should be the bike they could do the job, a better suspension, a bit lighter. So that indelible image, and Triumph being the bike that he jumped on, has been, whether we love it, hate it, or otherwise, that's what people recall when they think of Triumph. Big all over the world, particularly in America and the UK, and even in Germany and Italy. There's a big following for it. So had to be a Triumph, synonymous with Steve McQueen, synonymous with that phenomenal jump. Hence, a green Triumph Scrambler to jump. And the original bike was a TR6, a 650cc twin, which went on to become, it was developed into what ultimately would be the Bonneville, and the Bonneville's sort of the most, if you don't know your bikes, that's the highest selling twin in history. It's one of the most famous names for motorcycling, and this is part of our Bonneville family. It's got a twin engine, almost identical in its basic engineering and intent, although completely developed for a modern bike, as that original bike. And we decided to do homage with paint, graphics, and Guy played a fair part in putting the bike together, of course. And the main differences between this and the one you could buy are really things that we've done just to make it be a bit better in the air. What we've taken off is the indicators, the light unit at the back, the little mud guard at the front, which is basically a sort of just a mud slide guard to skim stuff off of there, and some of the electronics, And we've taken the main visual difference is the silencer, which would sit here, has come away, and that's to put the centre of weight gravity a little bit lower. And there's a bit of tuning that's been done to get it a little bit pokier so that Guy can get off the line quick. But apart from that, indicators, mirrors, little mudguard and the silencer, this is stock as a rock. And of course the paint job, which you'd have to do your own paint job if you want it to look like this.
So we've just seen Guy do the jump attempt. You'll be able to find out whether or not he got over the fence when it's aired on Channel 4 in a couple of days. It's been a fun day.
Yeah.
We've interviewed some legends. We've been basically looking at a stunning view all day, and this. So you can't have it all.
Well,
so, yeah.
Dave, you hurt me. You wounded me.
Right. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time on Hey You Guys.
Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey You Guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yeah.
Nice.
Hey